What's up guys? With Palkia Inteleon looking as good as it's ever been and looking like it is poised to at the very least keep up in the Silver Tempest format, since I have extensive knowledge with this deck, having played almost 700 games of just Palkia Inteleon and getting myself top 4 of the World Championships with this deck, I thought this would be a good opportunity to make a matchup guide to Palkia Inteleon, including my personal tips and tricks, so I hope you enjoy the video guys. Alright guys, so the first matchup that I wanted to talk about was the Mew matchup. This is one of the matchups, probably the matchup where I feel like I'm the strongest in. I'm really good in this matchup, and I feel like I have a lot of knowledge to give on this. The list we're looking at on the screen is Owen Kammerman's list that he played. In Lille got top 4 with very similar to what I played at Worlds, and this would be where I'd want to start here with the Marnie 1 Melanie. This is where I'd want to start with Palkia. I really like this list, so yeah. But the Mew matchup, the main thing to think about is like winning in 3 attacks. Something I'm gonna like keep saying in a lot of times in this video. Well, only a few matchups, but the goal is generally just win as fast as possible. And this matchup is gonna be win in 3 attacks. Regardless if you're going first or second, you have to set it up. You can use Radiant Greninja on 2 Mews. Like, the thing about the matchup is Psychic Leap for them isn't very strong because of how resource intensive it is. Assuming they're running the Fusionless version, it takes them, like, for example, 3 tablets to kill Greninja. It still takes them a tablet and a boss to kill a Sobble. So if they're using Psychic Leap, they're not really actually achieving anything, because if they're only taking 1 prize, that generally puts off their prize trade and makes them take 4 turns to attack while it takes you only 3. Even if you're set back 1 attack with Greninja, it'll take you 4, but if you're going first, you have the initiative. So if you're going first, the only thing you have to worry about are Avery and Marnie. Other than that, nothing to worry about. Just try and gust every turn if you can, or if you don't have to, then you don't have to, and that's great. But if they keep shoving their Oricorio into their Mew VMAX, and you want to get around that, you can use the Palkia. If you have a good opportunity to use your Radiant Greninja, then do that. Usually only happens when you're going second though, that you get a great opportunity to use your Radiant Greninja. Here's what I want to talk about going second. You really just have to make sure they can't find enough tablets in that turn. You can do this by using your Big Charm. The thing is, Marnie and Roxanne aren't great in this matchup. You don't have the path, at least the very least in this build, to path Marnie and path Roxanne. You don't have that as you're out in the late game, but you still really need to focus on disrupting them going second, because if they attack a return, then they're going to win. You're still going to need to get Palkias down. There's nothing you can do. So another thing you can think about is you can potentially one-shot Mew VMAXs with Choice Belt and Inteleon Ping if they don't have Oricorio down. But if they do have Oricorio down, you can do it with Zigzagoon. So there's a lot of things you can do in this matchup, and yeah. You just kind of need to like use all your cards to disrupt them as much as you can. Like shove a Greninja in the active for turn, even shove an Inteleon in the active for a turn. If you can, not a quick shooting, a Aqua Blood Inteleon, just to try and force them to, if they need to hit boss and like 3 tablets or 4 tablets in one turn, it's gonna be really, or like 4, not 4 tablets, usually 3 tablets in belt. But it's gonna be pretty hard for them, especially with Big Charm. They do a vacuum themselves, but if they don't find on the turn, it's just another piece they need, just another piece they can have. And yeah, I've found that the new versions are better at, the new version without fusion is better at winning going second, and worse at winning going first. Or the other way around. Worse at winning on their end, going second, and better going first. So they do have the disruption which can stop you going first, but you're going to try and avoid that. And the next matchup I wanted to talk about in this Palkia Inteleon matchup guide is Kyurem. Now Kyurem, they have high health and they can one-shot your Palkias. So there's definitely some difficulty there, especially if you're going second. If you can't establish a good prize trade, a lot of the time they are just going to blow you out of the water. But using Roxanne and Marnie, really important in this matchup. Even though they have the Radiant Greninja to draw up, if you can get a Roxanne on a turn that they absolutely have to draw something, so like if you can kind of force the prize trade to where you're sort of trading and you're winning in 3 attacks and they're winning in 3 attacks. They kill 2 of your Palkias, and then you can go for like a Greninja Roxanne or something like that to like put damage on a Rangaroo and then ping it off the next turn to knock it out and then kill that Kyurem to finish off the game. If you can get a play like that, that's going to be really good for you. because yeah, Roxanne really strong, especially like if they already use Luminion. If you can get that out of the way. The only issue is you don't run parts, so you only have the training card. Yeah, using Greninja to assist in winning in 3 attacks. So for example, like putting damage on a Kyurem and on a Rangoon as stated, as I said before, is yeah, like that just helps you win in 3 attacks while using a one prizer in the active for 1 turn, which is a common theme with this deck. Since you have like the quick shooting and the Zigzagoon, a lot of the time you can get away with using just a one prize attacker and pinging a lot of damage to get to the numbers, because obviously these Inteleons don't hit for enough damage, and the Radiant Greninja doesn't always hit for exactly enough damage as you want. But if you can get damage on them, they don't run Manaphy, so you can get them with that. Using the Crabominable to kill Kyurems as well. Sometimes you can set up like situations where you can do that. This is one of the matchups where Crabominable actually like sorta does something. It dies really easily, but so do your Kyurem, so do your Palkias, I mean. So that's gonna be the plan against Palkia. Chasing down, another thing to consider against Kyurem is if they don't use their V-Star already, you can kind of chase down their one Palkia they have in play, and then that'll force them to get more energies, and then you can Roxanne them, and your Roxanne gets better. So that's something to consider. But other than that, not really much for that matchup. Now on to Giratina. So the focal point in Giratina is blocking the hand. Like it is. You can have games where you run them over and kill all their Giratinas, and you just get into a good position from that. But you also have games where you don't, and you're behind a lot. And they're sort of running over you with Greninjas, with Giratinas. At that point, you have to use anything you can. Like if you can get a Greninja turn, a good Greninja turn, maybe you can kill 2 Comfies if they left that on the board, which they shouldn't be. But sometimes it'll happen. They don't have infinite consistency. So if you can get a good Greninja turn, like absolutely go for it. Usually, yeah, you want to go for. The only thing to consider is don't go for your your Greninja turn if the next turn they're gonna just be attacking with a Giratina that you can no longer kill. Because if you remove all their Pokemon from their board, then you're not gonna have a way to kill their Giratina with Palkia. And to think about what they're trying to do in the matchup, they're trying to prevent you from killing their Giratina, so their Giratina can survive for longer. So what you want to do, is yeah, force damage onto the Giratinas, force them to a high bench, build up your hand. They do run Roxanne, but like even before the Roxanne turn, just they don't run money. Just build up your hand, like get a lot of pieces so you can just use, maybe go for a big quick shooting play. Get like 2 quick shooting and a Zigzagoon, like quick shooting, net it. Just so you can take a big one shot on a Giratina that maybe they weren't expecting. And that's sort of the beauty of running like a lot of these pinging cards. We have the 3 here: the quick shooting, the Zigzagoon, and the choice belt in this list. And the Echoing Horn. Echoing Horn is something to consider, even if you're just Echoing Horning a Comfy. You know, sometimes you'll Echoing Horn a Comfy and then you kill with Greninja, or something along those lines. If they find themselves with one in the discard, they're going to be trying to rod those Pokemon out of the discard. But a lot of the time, if you can find a good use for that Echoing Horn, just use it. No point holding it. If you can take an extra prize with it to keep yourself up in the race, that's good enough, really, in that matchup. And also, another thing I wanted to point out with Giratina is using your Big Charm at a good time. With their Star Requiem, they can sort of like get rid of the Big Charm, completely negate the effect, and you're trying to make that not happen. So if you can just use the Big Charm at any point where maybe you think they don't want to start Requiem, or like if you can force out their Star Requiem earlier, which this is a rare case, but like if like they have an energy and they don't really want to play Mirage or something, or if you put them on a small hand, if when they already have 10, like you Mani them, like before your Roxanne they're on like 3 prizes or something. If you can get like a Mani off, and then maybe they have to Requiem, and then you use your Big Charm. It's very situational. The Big Charm, and I've found that yeah, um, like using it can be kind of an issue because yeah, they do have their Star Requiem, which negates the effect, and using it early as well is also really good. Um, yeah, trying to get it early before they can get to 10 to get to their Star Requiem is another way, but if you get past that time, Big Charm not gonna have as big of an effect, and you really want to get value out of your Big Charm because it is a great tool in the matchup, to prevent them and disrupt them. Which is, if you're especially if you're going second and they're just running you over with Giratinas. is something you absolutely need to get them disrupted. Now onto the next matchup is going to be the Palkia Mirror. In this matchup, my general plan is just hit hard and fast now. There's really nothing you can do. The player who rock stands a lot of the time is going to be winning. And like another thing, if you're going second, you really want to be killing their Palkias to stop them from killing your Palkias. To stop from setting up their Palkias, because if you kill their Palkia, it means they've got to set up another Palkia, which eventually, you Roxanne, and they're left with only their one Palkia left, especially if they're copying lists like this, not running Crobat. You can definitely catch them out with stuff like that. If you're the person in the worst position, that's to go into Roxanne. And generally, it's not as good this format because of the Big Charm, but with the Big Charm, they can prevent this sort of plan that I had going into Worlds as my main plan, which was to take 4 prizes in one turn in the mirror, using quick shooting to take 4 prizes in one turn and completely skip Roxanne. Also, considering they're running Marnie now, that isn't as strong, so you don't have a whole lot of options. The Crabominable is something that can be used, but not really. You really just need to hit with your Palkias, hope you can survive through Roxanne, put yourself in good positions using your Melanie and your resources to get as much energy as you can on the board, so when you get to the point of the game where you can be Roxanne, you actually have good outs to draw out of it. But it is a very tough matchup to play, and yeah, Roxanne, especially in this format, definitely swings it a lot. The next matchup I wanted to touch on was the Regigigas matchup. This matchup is incredibly interesting, and something that I've actually had to practice a lot, sort of recently. Well, not a lot, but I've played a couple times, and the main thing is you have 2 Pokemon. So you need Manaphy on the board. That is step number 1. You absolutely need Manaphy. And you have 2 Pokemon that can survive a hit from any Regigigas. You have 1 Palkia with a Big Charm, and you have 1 Crabominable. So that means that those 2 Pokemon can take 4 prizes before your opponent takes their 4. So these 2 cards give you an advantage as long as you can get 2 attacks off with a Pokemon that isn't these Pokemon. So for example, if you can use a 1 prizer for 1 turn, that gives you 1 prize, and then if you can attack first, then your first pack gives you 1 prize, you go into the Inteleon, use your second prize, and then you attack with Palkia with a Big Charm, attack with Palkia with a Big Charm again, that's 4 prizes, attack with Crab, they attack you, you attack them, you win the prize race. So if you can get your first attack, and you can get a turn to use your quick shooting, a Palkia with a Big Charm, and a Crabominable, that should be enough to win you the matchup. The only thing to consider is their Blizzard Bind with Regice, so holding your cross switches is more important than it seems, especially with their Marnies, so, and having ways to retreat as well, when you're attacking with your Palkia with a Big Charm is important, especially considering the Crabominable is for a trait. The Crabominable is going to get Blizzard Bind, Blizzard Bound. It's going to get that happen to it every single game. Yeah, that's just something to consider. But if you can do that, you're going to win, as long as you get the first attack off, which is very common. Now, the next matchup I wanted to talk about was Arceus Goodra. This is the matchup where Crabominable is going to be the biggest. Just note, they can't kill it. They have no in their deck to kill it. So, and here are the damage amounts. So, they have 270 HP. Their attack reduces 80. So now if they don't have a Big Charm on them, they have a total of 350 health. And that dies to 4 damage counters, which does 370 with the Crabominable. If they're the Big Charm, you need 5, which is a lot of damage counters. But you can also just use your Palkia, go for a punch with Palkia, then go into your Crabominable, which can then knock out 1 Goodra, and maybe even a second Goodra, if you can set that up. Also, something else to consider, obviously if you have Echoing Horn to get their Arceus and whatever out, you have Cross Switcher plus Boss, which can get around the Goodra's effect of healing 80, or not healing 80, reducing 80, and that's going to be how you're trying to win that. Yeah, Crabominable massive tool. Don't use Greninja, use Crabominable, VSTAR to Crabominable, and just try and use your Palkia's attacks in the early game to get rid of their Arceus, and then you can use your Crabominable to kill their Goodras, which are really hard to kill. And the second to last matchup I'm going to talk about here is the Lost Box matchup. Now in the Lost Box matchup, what you're trying to do is just set up your Palkias using as little Sobbles as possible to keep yourself mostly in the prize race. If you ever get an opportunity to Greninja, absolutely do it. And another thing to consider is you want to try your best to put pressure on their Manaphy's. Um, if you can just ping it even just once, you get a second ping, and now they're under pressure of ping Zigzagoon and then Manaphy dying, so they're gonna have to spend an extra net. Just forcing resources out of them, because the thing you'll realize in this matchup is you actually don't have a lot of initiative. You literally can't do anything for a lot of the game. You're just sitting there with a Palkia, just attacking them. So yeah, you need to sort of just do anything you can, like get quick shooting down, you know, gust their Manaphy, force them to find another one, and hopefully if you can do all that, you'll be in a good spot. So that's the Lost Box matchup. Don't use too many Sobbles in the process of doing that. Last matchup I want to touch on was Zoro. Now the thing about Zoro is they apply a lot of pressure. So yeah, you're definitely a lot of the time gonna be like, if you're going second, you're gonna be in a rough spot. If you're going first, you shouldn't be losing this matchup a lot. If you can get cross switches on turn 2, you should be winning it most of the time. That just depends on how good, if you can open VIP pass, if you can open a pretty good start, you'll always be fine in the matchup going first. If you go second, also cross switcher goes around Diancie, that's something to consider. But yeah, if you're going second, Roxanne, if they use their V-Star power, Roxanne plus Big Charm sometimes might get them. They can do enough damage, but sometimes that'll get them. Spamming Marnie and Roxanne to stop them from drawing all their pieces is definitely something you can do. If they don't think about their bench enough, sometimes you can get a playoff with Radiant Greninja because the Gengar takes 3 damage, and other cards take damage. And if you can get attack off with Radiant Greninja and like a Roxanne, for example, it's gonna be really, really difficult for them to find Boss and Zoroark and DT and Choice Belt. Of course, it's gonna be incredibly difficult for them to find all those pieces, even if they have a Crobat left. So yeah, that'll be the Zoroark matchup, and that'll be it for the video. I went over 8 decks, I went over how you should play those matchups. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just quick explanation of matchups with Palkia. Let me know if you learned something. Let me know in the comments what you think, and yeah, drop a like or sub if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.